Shalom, friends. In this episode, we're reflecting on a powerful teaching from Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Fathers. And it says, according to the pain is the reward. This principle teaches that the closer we draw to Yahweh through our actions, the greater the spiritual reward. And that closeness is not simply measured by what we do, but by what we overcome in order to do it. You see, when a person fulfills a mitzvah, whether it is a mitzvah of learning or of speech or of action, and fulfills it in the presence of struggle, of discomfort, or of internal resistance, then that act is not only counted, but counted greater. Why is that? Because it reveals something deeper about the person's desire to cling to Yahweh. Let's make this concrete. There's a difference between doing something that is easy and doing the same thing when it is difficult, when it costs us sleep, comfort, social acceptance, or inner peace. When we fulfill Yahweh's will, despite that difficulty, it's as if we have pushed through a barrier to stand in the presence of the King. And that effort, that resistance we overcome is what draws us near. The reward is not because of the pain. The pain is not inherently something that's virtuous, right? And you shouldn't be trying to create pain in order for this idea to manifest, because then it doesn't count. It's not the underlying message that we're getting here. The reward comes from the closeness to Yahweh that the pain reveals. The person, has chosen the will of Yahweh over the will of the body, over fear, over convenience. They've said with action, I will not be stopped. To understand this spiritually, imagine standing far away from someone you love, and there are obstacles between you. Maybe it's a dense forest, a steep hill, a rushing river. Each time you move toward them, pushing past those barriers, you're doing more than just walking. You are showing them and yourself how much they matter. This is what we do each time we obey in struggle. We are drawing closer through resistance. Let us take a moment to reflect on this from the perspective of Netzach, of Yahsod, our focus on day 39 of the Omer. Although it may seem counterintuitive, many of us are just as afraid of victory and success as we are of failure. We may say we want to grow, to rise, to fulfill our potential. Yet, when the moment comes that demands commitment, devotion, and persistence, we shrink back. Success, after all, requires something of us. Hard work, taking risks, making ourselves vulnerable. It takes responsibility. And for some, that is more frightening than failure. Yahsod, our foundation, our spiritual foundation, when paired with Netzach, which is about victory and endurance and triumph, it teaches us to rise above, to overcome that resistance, to hold fast to our covenant with Yahweh, to become steady in our work for Yahweh, even when we are tired or unsure. The pain of growth, the sacrifice of comfort is not in vain. It is the path toward being used by Yahweh in the fullness of who we are. As we read in Hebraic thought, it says, victory entails hard work, commitment, devotion, overcoming difficulties, and confronting challenges. We often fool ourselves into believing we really want what we say we want. Yet for many people, the effort needed takes them too far away from their comfort zone. And this is why we have an ethic of our fathers that reads, according to the pain is the gain, or more precisely, according to the effort, the anguish, the pain is the reward. Now, let's take time to reflect and practice. This exercise will help you identify where endurance for victory is needed in your life and how to deepen your connection with Yahweh through action. You will need something to write with, maybe a pen and a piece of paper, or jot this down on your phone in order to do this with the intention that it deserves. So, step 1, we are going to identify the mitzvah that you struggle to uphold. Reflect on one area of your spiritual life that you avoid or postpone or minimize. I'm not suggesting that that's because you're rejecting it, but just simply because it feels difficult. This might be a physical act or a private struggle or something that's about relationships. It might be the discipline of prayer, right? The restraint from speaking harmful about people, harmful speech. Might be the giving of tzedakah when funds are tight. Or, keeping set-apart practices when everyone around you does not, like wearing tzitzits or other items that are important for us to connect more deeply with Father Yahweh. Or, I'll get into a few things that are a little bit more controversial, as one might say. It might be things like avoiding wasting semen for all of you men out there. This mitzvah is important for us this week as we are in the week of Yahsod. As a reminder, Yosef is the embodiment of Yahsod, and we know that he was able to overcome the sexual advances of Potiphar's wife, right? We've talked about how Yahsod is about, sexual energy. It's about the things that create children, right? Which are our foundation. And so this mitzvah is hard because it deals with urges that are natural and strong. It's surrounded by shame and confusion and silence. And so choosing restraint here often feels, countercultural to what everyone does. And so why might this reward be great? Well, choosing to guard the covenant, which is what this idea of avoiding wasting semen is centered around, is a really powerful act of self-control, of clarity, and of dignity. It represents a yearning to align our bodies with Yahweh's design. And that kind of inner struggle draws us near. Back to Yosef, the reason why he became so powerful is because every time he had a sexual urge and desire that was improper, he decided to study Torah. He decided to literally take the energy that he would have used improperly by moving forward with his sexual desires. He took that energy and he poured it into Torah. And that is why his reward was so much greater and he became the Yosef that we know him to have become, right? A viceroy in Egypt, someone who was able to interpret all of the dreams. The whole world came to Egypt as he was leading it as Pharaoh's number 2 in order to avoid the, death of a global famine. That all happened because he did exactly what we're talking about today. He got a greater reward for avoiding the thing that was really challenging. And he said, Yahweh, I'm avoiding this sexual urge, these sexual urges, and I'm going to pour that energy into your Torah. Please, Yahweh, see that as me wanting to draw closer and elevate closer and further to you. Maybe it's, forgiving someone who isn't sorry. There's a this idea, right, where um, because someone doesn't say sorry, that then they don't deserve forgiveness. But when you release the bitterness, not for the sake of the other person, but to fulfill Yahweh's mitzvah, you endure, as we know, real emotional pain in the process. But the release allows Yahweh's presence to dwell in the place where hate once set. All right, so those are just some examples of things to get your minds percolating. And so on your piece of paper or your notepad, write this down and fill in the blank. The mitzvah or practice I struggle to maintain is fill in the blank. Step 2, we are going to name the resistance. What is stopping you? Is it fear? Is it desire? Is it lust? Is it laziness? Is it shame? Is it lack of support? And so fill in the blank to this. The obstacle I face when I try to fulfill this mitzvah is, and we're connecting this back to the last answer to the question, right? We're still talking about the same mitzvah that you struggle to maintain. And we're writing for step 2, the obstacle I face when I try to fulfill this mitzvah is. Step 3, we are going to declare our deeper desire. So, now we need to go beneath the resistance. What do you really want? Is it intimacy with Yahweh? Is it shalom or peace in your soul? Is it a clean and clear conscience? Is it wholeness? Articulate this spiritual loathing that is underneath the resistance and write this down. Despite the resistance, what I truly want is fill in that blank. Step 4, make a plan to push through. What will you do the next time this resistance shows up? What concrete action will you take to move forward instead of retreating? Complete this statement. When the struggle comes again, I will fill in the blank. Could be, I will pray. I will read Torah. I will call my parents. I will, write in my journal. It can be anything that is helping you overcome the struggle. And lastly, step 5, reflect on this promise. Close by remembering this. According to the pain is the reward. Your effort is not going to go unnoticed. Your endurance in this struggle is not in vain. Yahweh sees and will see the one who clings, even when it hurts. Remember, beloved, we're not trying to learn how to be perfect. That's not what our 49-day journey is about, because it is impossible to be perfect. We are learning how to struggle and overcome in our struggles. We are learning how to defeat our evil inclination. We are learning how to subdue our evil inclination and allow our good inclination, our soul that is connected to Shemaim, to overcome and rule our body, for example. We are recognizing that every time we overcome spiritual resistance, we reveal how much we want to draw near to Yahweh. And that nearness itself is the reward. Even if a person sits among others who are speaking in ways that are not permitted, right? Sitting among those who are gossiping, and he remains silent, even if others see him as strange, the reward for holding firm in that moment is beyond measure, for not joining in to speak evil against a person. Not because You've suffered socially, but because you chose integrity. So I invite you to take one small practice and face it anew. To walk through the struggle as a path that leads to Yahweh. May the reward be not just what you receive, but who you become. One who is close, one who clings, and one who walks toward the King with strength. Shalom, beloved. Stay tuned for the Omer prayer and blessing.
Today is day 39 of the Omer. If you were able to say both the blessing and the prayer last night, then we invite you to join us tonight for both the blessing and the prayer. However, if you weren't able to say the prayer last night, then we invite you to just join us for the prayer tonight. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefarah ha'omer. Blessed are you, Father Yahweh, King and ruler of the universe, who has set us apart with your mitzvot and commanded us concerning the counting of the Omer. Today is 39 days, which is 5 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. May the Merciful One restore unto us the service of the Bet HaMikdash to its place, speedily in our days. Amen. Selah. For the choir master, a song with instrumental music, a psalm. May Yahweh be favorable to us and bless us. May he make his countenance shine upon us forever. That your way be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. The nations will extol you, O Yahweh. All the nations will extol you. The nations will rejoice and sing for joy, for you will judge the peoples justly and guide the nations on earth forever. The peoples will extol you, O Yahweh. All the peoples will extol you, for the earth will have yielded its produce, and Yahweh our Almighty One will bless us. Yahweh will bless us, and all from the farthest corners of the earth shall fear him. We implore you, by the great power of your right hand, release the captive, accept the prayer of your people. Strengthen us, purify us, Yahsod One, Mighty One, we beseech you. Guard as the apple of the eye those who seek your oneness. Bless them, cleanse them, bestow upon them forever your merciful kadoshness. Powerful, set apart one, in your abounding goodness, guide your congregation. Only an exalted one, turn to your people who are mindful of your kadoshness. Accept our supplication and hear our cry, you who know secret thoughts. Blessed be the name of the esteem of his kingdom, forever and ever. Master of the universe, you have commanded us through Moshe, your servant, to count Sefirat HaOmer, in order to purify us from our evil and uncleanness. As you have written in your Torah, you shall count for yourselves from the day following the day of rest, from the day on which you bring the Omer as a wave offering. The counting shall be for 7 full weeks. Until the day following the 7th week shall you count 50 days, so that the souls of your people Israel may be cleansed from their defilement. Therefore, may it be your will, Yahweh our Mighty One, and the Mighty One of our scriptural forefathers, that in the merit of the Sefirat HaOmer, which I counted today, the blemish that I have caused in the Sephirah Netzach Shebe Yahsod be rectified, and I may be purified and set apart with supernal kadoshness. May abundant bounty thereby be bestowed upon all the worlds. May it rectify our nefesh, ruach, and neshama from every baseness and defect, and may it purify and set us apart with your